Welcome to Daughters Beyond the Incarceration, Unfiltered and Unbothered. I am your host, Maleah Robinson, a high school student, a policy fellow with DBI, and a daughter whose father has been incarcerated. This week, DBI girls are headed to the Louisiana State Capitol for Youth Violence Prevention Week. Because we believe that violence prevention does not start with punishment, it starts with investment, it starts with education, it starts with making sure girls like me have somewhere to go, someone to talk to, and a loud voice enough to reach the people writing the policies that affect our families. Today's guest knows something about all of that. Shaka, whose full name is Colie Laval, grew up in Washington, D.C. I met Shaka in Washington, D.C. this past February when DBI traveled there to meet with congressional leaders. He changed the way I see the criminal justice system, and I knew I had to bring him on the show. This is Daughters Beyond Incarceration. This is Unfiltered. This is Unbothered. Let's get into it! Welcome to DBI's podcast, Unfiltered and Unbothered, real conversation, real impact, real freedom. I'm the host, Maleah Robinson, a policy fellow with Daughters Beyond Incarceration, and my guest, Shaka Zulu. And how about we have an introduction from Shaka Zulu, everyone?
Hey, how you doing, me? Thank you for having me. My name is Colie Laval. Everyone calls me Shaka. I'm a returning citizen from the D.C. area, from D.C., Washington, D.C. I grew up in D.C. during the time when D.C. was kind of like the murder capital of the nation back in the early 90s. And in 96, I was arrested as a youth offender for a series of violent offenses where I subsequently was sentenced to life imprisonment, life without the possibility of parole. And I ultimately ended up serving 26 years in prison. Yet prior to me getting released from prison, though, I matriculated to college, Ashland University and Georgetown University, and then 3 years later, I was released in 2022, and I now work for Georgetown University as a program associate and reentry specialist for a program called Prisons and Justice Initiative. And I also work with at-risk youth as a violence intervention specialist in Ward 7 and Ward 8 of DC. These are neighborhoods that are socially impacted, underserved communities, and try to work as a deterrent to young people from keeping them out of trouble.
Yes, I love that introduction. I met Shaka Zulu in real life when I went to DC in February. We went there for I would say a retreat to see congressional leaders, and Shaka Zulu really had a real impact on me and how I see the criminal justice system. And I really want him on this podcast because I believe that he really was unfiltered and unbothered. So I'm gonna start asking some questions. Um, how would you approach young people struggling with the law, in the sense when it comes to criminal justice, I guess?
I mean, from my experience, I understand where they come from. When I be talking to the young kids and stuff like that, I try to encourage them to, look, man, stay in school. A lot of time, a lot of kids, unfortunately, in my community, they don't have no solid infrastructure in the family household. And a lot of times there's a problem that a lot of black men of substance are missing from these black family households. So
Yeah.
these young boys are like looking, for a template to be a man through social media, through rap videos, through their peers, and all these things of that nature. And a lot of these guys have a misconception of what manhood is. They
Yeah.
think because I can give me a switch or a Drake or something like that, and I could be known as a stepper and all this other stuff and get the man respect. That's what being a man is, right? And I try to tell them that a man don't just do what he want to do. A man do what he's supposed to do as far as having responsibility. And the first responsibility you have is yourself. Build
Yeah.
yourself, educate yourself. Be a person of substance and character. You know, and and they get the pitch and they get the picture. I just a lot of times, just a lot of young people, they're in a space where they just want to be heard, man. They want to be seen, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't got the right outfit or if you don't got the right reputation, you're irrelevant. And that calls for a lot of people to do a lot of extraneous things,
He's,
just
yeah.
to get that type of attention and recognition.
Because at the end of the day, like they'll turn into the product of the environment. Like if you don't have the correct role model in your life to like lead you in the right direction, you will become what you be around. So like it will never. It was just like the circle of life at the end of the day,
Right.
and like you'll never get the attention that you want unless you act out. So you got to get anywhere else.
Right.
I can't really have a say so in that because I know where I want to be in life. So.
And that's the problem, though. You made a great point. Like a lot of young people don't really know what they want to do in life. A lot of people, their perception of life is built on a third party perspective of their peers, their social circle. A lot, I mean, when you sit down and you talk to these young men and women out there, and you just listen and hear and learn, man, they be so brilliant, man. Like the ideas, but the thing is, in our community, like a lot of kids feel like they have to like dumb themselves down to fit in,
Yes.
instead of embracing their uniqueness to stand out, and and it's bad. I don't like because people get praises to the wrong people for the wrong things. You know what I'm saying?
They have like a lot of sorry to cut you off, but they have like a lot of young boys in my school that's like really talented, like talented young boys, and they just in the wrong subject, like they in the wrong area of what they supposed to be in. Like they just not in the right space. They just doing stuff that's not supposed to lead them in the right path in life. They just wrong at the end of the day. Like nobody finna keep telling them to just stay on the right track and do this to get your life straight, and they just not listening. So like it's just a lot. So like
It's the same thing here.
so like, and beyond on that topic, do you believe that staying in a bad environment is it a choice or like, is it somewhere that being you could leave or something like that? Like, do you believe that staying in a bad environment is a choice or is it like you can leave? Like,
Honestly, that's kind of like a tricky question, right? Because in reality, like the young kids that I watch grow up like that, a lot of times they don't have no choices, you know. Like honestly, like they grew up like where economically, they're struggling. A lot of a single parent household. The environment they come from is like gun violence. Like in these neighborhoods, you can get a gun quicker than you get a library card. And DC is a very rich city, but strategically, certain pockets of the city, where this, that incidentally had the highest gun violence rates, these people have the lowest, income margin, and things of that nature. So a lot of times, people can't really escape the circumstance because they don't have the financial means to do. But the irony of it is that the ones that can, like remove themselves out of the situation, they don't want to do that. They feel like they only gonna be cool, be accepted if they stay where they at. Because if they branch out, they looking like they a wild nigga or they're anything to a person. You know what I'm saying? Or like I mean, it's crazy. Like I be seeing so many young smart kids, right? Where that they feel like they ain't nobody unless they have an op. So they just like my op over here, my op over there. They're not even beefing, but they feel like to be recognized as the cool kids, they gotta have an op. You know what I'm saying? They gotta fight, they gotta do this and that. Versus just like going to school,
just
good.
going to school and being good.
Yeah, they don't want to be no square.
No square. You said you were out of prison for 3 years. So
Yeah.
since you worked at Georgetown, which is a like predominantly white school, do they understand where you come from as like a criminal justice leader? Like,
Yeah, they have no choice to not understand it because I'm gonna make them understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that my whole thing is that why I'm there is to create a nexus between my humanity and their humanity and the humanity of the men and women that's incarcerated and them. They're no better. A college student is no better than a kid that's in the juvenile detention center. The only thing that separate them was the circumstances that dictated the choices that they made.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I understand, and my whole thing is that if we really want the criminal justice system to be better, then we need to understand that, hey, we can't just lock people up, what I'm saying, to stop them from committing crimes. We got to stop, man, making policies that we can, like, even the playing fields, where these kids' parents can make money, or these kids can make money. You know what I'm saying? That we can have more agency with the curriculums of the school that these kids are going through, or they can just have more resources where they can be exposed to more things. A lot
Yeah.
of kids in my city, they really think that the world is just DC is the whole world. You know what I'm saying? Like, they never even been out the country. Some have never been out the state. Some kids never been to the damn White House. They just stay in their neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? And think that's just it.
Right. So like DC, like when I was in DC, it was like it was a lot of ice. I can say that. It was like I did not like being in DC. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it was a lot of like I didn't really see a lot of black schools, but like Howard. Like that's probably the only black schools I see out there. Like so like what I'm trying to say is like, do you like want to work at like a predominantly like black school? Like is there like a type of like free education for like a black students? Because I know like DC is like a predominantly like white state, and like you barely get to see like per like black people in general get that free education and stuff like that. You gotta pay for everything. I know DC is like a money state. So when you in DC, do you feel like free education is hard to get?
Honestly, nah, because let me correct you. Like, I grew up in DC when DC was Chocolate City. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, man, DC was a black city when I was, growing up, in the 80s and the 90s. During my incarceration, when I started hearing this term called gentrification, I didn't when I started reading them on it, what it was, when I was feeling like how, like, a lot of people's, a lot of my homies, they've been locked up, their grandparents owned on houses in the neighborhood, they started dying off. Then you had these people coming in, hey, I got $100,000 buying these houses, then they renovate the house, and now these houses worth $1 million, and now you can't move back into your neighborhood. So, me personally, I feel like I stay in DC because I feel like, man, I ain't let nobody run me out my city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up here. Yeah, I understand that a lot of my neighborhoods that I grew up in, they don't look the same no more. DC don't even have a lot of community base no more. But still, there's still opportunities here. You know what I'm saying? From the legacy that our forefathers, our great grandparents left behind. There's great opportunity for for education, whether through UDC, and Georgetown has initiative there that they work with low income students, coming that live there, and I'm gonna share a little quick story about me because, like, growing up in DC, right, as a kid, the only time a lot of black people in the city would go into the Georgetown area, because Georgetown always was an affluent area, right? But
Yeah.
it was only had because it had a lot of shopping, like malls. Like, a lot of black people, young black kids would go down there to shop. They had the Gucci store, the all the little designer store, the gold stuff. Like, I'm talking about 92, 93, 94, right? But we never aspired to actually go to Georgetown University, because nobody really inspired. Yeah,
Yeah. It was
never.
hard to get in. Yeah, it was a predominant. Like I remember, like it was like not remember, but like I've read about it. Like it was like predominantly white school. Like Georgetown never been like integrated really. Like you never really could have like a chance to get in there for real. Like so, like Howard like was probably like the only choice for real. So
Yeah. So for me to be in a space where not only that I go to Georgetown University, but I also co-teach a course there. It was like, man, I feel like that was my personal mission. You know what I'm saying? As a DC native, to be in a school that's in my city. You know what I'm saying? And teach some of the kids that's there. And I also inspire a lot of the black. There are a few. Georgetown University does have a black student community there.
yeah.
You know,
So
and
like
go ahead.
when you like what do you teach like when you in the school like
We have a course called Prisons and Punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And in that course, you know what I'm saying, I kind of demystify, a lot of the myths. I mean, that that our criminal justice system is broken. Like a lot of the students, they come in, they be like, yeah, we gotta fix the system. The system is broken. And I explain to them, listen, our criminal legal system is not broken. It don't need to be fixed. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? To enslave black and brown bodies for profit. You know what I'm saying? Like our criminal legal system is nothing but slavery in another form, to make money off people, And if we really want to fix it, then we had to create policies, to empower communities of the people. You know what I'm saying? Not just for individuals that, you can't write a policy to stop one person from robbing somebody. You know what I'm saying? But if you write a policy that make it where you can hire ex-offenders, you can hire people, you can empower, man, you can help, you can policies for affordable housing and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Where people don't have to make choices where, do I buy food today or do I pay my rent? You know what I'm saying? Make these hard choices, then you will see a more equitable community, and that will drastically reduce crime.
So like, if I'm like, I take a civics class and like we talk about them type of things, and like I wouldn't say like the criminal justice system is like broken. I would really say it's like unbalanced, like it's really unfair, in other words, to me. So like when you say like slavery, I would really put it like that, because like you wouldn't really see a lot of white men or women in jail. You would really see like black and brown men and women in jail because of like unfair crimes, like petty theft and all that. Like I remember my civics teacher, he went to jail. Like he had like this whole legal case and all that, because he went to jail for stealing like Worcestershire sauce, whatever it's like called. Yeah, that sauce. And it was like a whole thing. And like they were trying to put him in jail. He was an Alabama councilman, because he was in Alabama. His name is Devin Keith. And he was in jail. He went to jail. And they had like a whole case against him because of like Walmart. He was banned from like a lot of Walmarts from that simple like that. And I just really, and like when he was telling the story, it really like didn't make sense to me, because like it was like all this evidence against this one man, and it was like they still put him in jail for like a couple of months just because of that. So like I wouldn't say it's like broken or you just need to fit. It's just like unbalanced, and it's like the right people just need to be in the right places, at the like perfect time. And that's all.
I understand where you come from, little sis, but let me tell you something. Our criminal system is not off balance. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Because just to your point, you know what I'm saying? When they so-called abolish slavery, right?
Yeah.
They said, you know what I'm saying, slavery has been abolished except for what?
So
No, slavery has been abolished except for anyone who commits a crime, a felony. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we got to convict leasing. There's a book called Worse Than Slavery. When they quote unquote stop slavery, you know what I'm saying? That was the beginning of the creation of mass incarceration. You know what I'm saying? They start locking people up, laundering for the black laws, Jim Crow laws, I used to say for vacancy, laundering, giving people 15 years, 10 years of hard labor. You know what I'm saying? People, that's why they created the chain gang. You know what I'm saying? So the whole principle behind this prison industrial complex is the same blueprint. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna undereducate, they're gonna do their best to undereducate you, your brother, your sister, any person of color. You know what I'm saying? Uneducated person gonna have limited opportunities, you know what I'm saying, in the job market. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have a lot of opportunities in the job market, you know what I'm saying? Once you see somebody loafing, you gonna rob them, you gonna sell drugs, you gonna do stuff, and you gonna get you locked up. I did a comparison. DC and in the state of Louisiana, specifically New Orleans, had the highest incarceration rates of black men.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Like ranging from like the 90s to like not even the 90s, going back way back in time.
Yeah.
To now is horrible.
Yeah.
So like
look at Angola. And go,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying, make millions of dollars and
Well,
millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying, off the suffering of enslaved black men. You
yeah.
know, they got, and then they commoditize, make it a commodity. Got rodeos, got bands, they got show. They turn it into a modern day circus, make money. You know what I'm saying? That's slavery. You know what I'm
It's,
saying? And it's
it's
designed. It's designed for that. It's not getting any better. You know. So you know what I'm saying. That's the whole thing. That's what I be trying to teach at the courses. That, man, like, this country was built, off of human suffering of the indigenous people that was killed here, and the Africans that were enslaved, and the us as being African Americans. That's the byproducts of slavery. You know what I'm saying. We have always been fuel for this economic engine. You know what I'm saying, that fuels this country.
it's
And
like
our laws are the same way.
feed, like we just feeding off each other basically. Like they use this. So like it's not even the fact that it's not even the fact that we use it, like it's the fact that we let them, like we used to it basically. Like the schools that's in New Orleans, like they would say the most horrible school down here, like it's probably the schools like uptown basically. And like ranging from uptown to like downtown, probably the worst schools. There's very uneducated, very under paid, like undereducated, under funded schools basically down here. They just,
Exactly.
yeah, they never like they just pass them along to the next person and never give them the right education to make them more smarter and need to know things to make them not go to prison and not go to jail and all that, to just give them the right lifestyle instead of
Right.
they just like putting them, they're like literally putting them in the criminal justice system by
Exactly.
just passing them along in jail, like just passing
And
them along. So like it really doesn't make sense to even be in like like school system if you're just gonna do that. So like I don't understand. Like me personally, I was raised like if I wasn't going to school, my mom could have homeschooled me. Like I was raised to just like know right from wrong. No, this is right. Like I gotta get my education. This is what I need to do this to get what's right, get what's mine, and move along.
right.
Like that's all I gotta say about that.
And that's why I said, that's why you one of our future thought leaders, man.
Yes,
We gotta protect you at all costs. You
yeah,
know,
but do the students at Georgetown like understand what you trying to put in their minds? Like that is like a never ending cycle.
man, you won't believe. A lot of kids, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they take the course just to get it. Like, yeah, man, I met Shaka, they, as a resume, but there are quite a few students that I've met and I have impacted their life so much they actually changed their majors to pursue, you know what I'm saying, like criminal justice reform, and they're using it to their powers, like going getting their law degree, and like they're actually going to work like already as undergrads, creating programs, going inside prisons, you know what I'm saying? Like having classes with incarcerated men and women, and yes, I've seen the changes. Like I've seen the power of like connection, like humanizing, men and women inside, and not only that, the men and women on the streets, that's headed into that direction, because like I said, a lot of times, a lot of people just need to be shown, just need a little bit of exposure to different stimuluses to
Yeah,
just
so they could like expand their
expand
horizon.
your horizons. Exactly.
Like, because when we was out there, we went to what the museum? What the museum out there called?
What, the
Where like
Smithsonian, the African American
yeah,
Museum?
the African American
Yeah.
Museum.
Okay.
And we seen all these things, and it was beautiful, and we cried and we laughed. We didn't really know like a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff wasn't really put in there that I learned, but it was a lot of stuff that it was new to me. So like that expanded my horizon.
Yeah, and it's supposed to inspire you for greatness because
Yeah,
greatness is in your DNA.
but if you really want like I want them to know, like the students out there, to like get in their minds that like they really have children that don't have like the education that they have with you as their
Right.
teacher. Like if you
Right.
was out here, these kids down here will be far along as like they like imagine being in 11th grade and don't know what the word assimilate means. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like those kids out there have like a very powerful teacher. So organizations like DBI, why are they important to you and to the work that you're doing?
Man, when I first met Dominique, man, and I read about DBI from the first group, man, I wanted to cry when I met that first cohort, because the whole thing is this, like, man, people like, for me, I don't have kids, right? But it's like you all like the daughters of incarcerated men, like you are like on the front line, fighting to keep the memory alive of your fathers, you know what I'm saying, relevant, to the world, the great work that you do, like, to me, I love the whole concept of the program is that, man, even through the separation, that the bars and the mental, the spiritual shackles, of being separated from your dad in prison, like that, you girls, the love that you have for your fathers, man, you like, man, fuck that shit, man. Like, man, that's my dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm representing, I'm standing on that, my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't no inmate, he ain't no convict. He's my dad. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and you're still doing so many great things, you know what I'm saying, in honor of your father, even though that he cannot be physically there. You know what I'm saying? That's a type of resiliency, man. Look, that's the same shit that you used to see when they had us standing on them slave blocks. You know what I'm saying? When the father and the mother was being separated, and one kid to be sent out Baltimore, the other sent to New Orleans, and being separated. Still that love, that family bond. That, hey, man, regardless of my dad mistake or whatever happened, that's my dad, and I love him, and I'm representing for him. You know what I'm saying? And still having that connection and allowing that father to still be a father to you all.
Right.
Man, I love the concept of the program,
Yeah, that's the biggest part of the program, just getting to like the basics of everybody's emotions. So since we're about to wrap up, because time is like limited.
Yeah.
What are your inspirations like about the people that are impacted by incarceration? Well, like final thoughts.
My final thoughts about it. I just want everybody just to get the opportunity for them to shine. You know what I'm saying? Get the opportunity to prove why they're relevant. Because they have breath. And I want them to connect. And do, and whatever time they may have, what I'm saying, outside the fences, man, like manifest their dreams. You know what I'm saying? I want them to be like contributors to the community. I want them to be great fathers and mothers. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, space that they can impact. I just want them to impact it positively. You know what I'm saying? And I just want them to realize that, their past, you know what I'm saying, don't have to like limit or inhibit their future. You know what I'm saying?
Just be better for the children, I think.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Shaka. Shaka too.
Thank you for having me, me. Hey, listen, I'm proud of you, Queen, for real, man. Keep doing it, man. Keep doing your thing.
See you later. We out. Shaka, thank you for your honesty, for your time, and for seeing us not as problems to be solved, but as daughters who love our fathers and are doing something about it. If this episode meant something to you, share it. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Daughters Beyond the Incarceration on Spotify so you never miss an episode. We are DBI girls. We are policy fellows, leaders, and daughters. We are just getting started. I am Maleah Robinson. Thank you for listening to Daughters Beyond the Incarceration, Unfiltered and Unbothered. We will see you next month.